Katika washa ya kuimarisha wajibu wa wanahabari dhidi ya taarifa za kupotosha vijijini, haswa maeneo ya magharibi, bonde la Ufa, Nyanza na pwani mwa Kenya, ambayo imefanyika huko jijini Kisumu, muungano huo ukiongozwa na mwenyekiti wake William Olojanak umesema dhuluma hiyo na mashambulizi ilitekelezwa kwa sehemu na wanasiasa pamoja na polisi.
And around the election period, a lot of journalists, and KCA did monitoring. Kenya Correspondents deployed 50 journalists who are trained to monitor the elections and also the cases of safety and security of journalists. So during our monitoring, from July to August, the first two months, that is before the elections and then immediately around the election period, we have done monitoring in 25 counties across the country. And our report, which we have just released, points to the fact that 34 journalists were under attack, were intimidated, were followed up or trolled on social media. And out of 34, 21 of them were male, who faced different attacks. And the attacks were from politicians, from their supporters, from other news sources. And there was also 11 specific cases of female journalists who faced a lot of harassment because of being female. Some of them faced harassment, sexual harassment.
Kutokana na haya, muungano huo sasa unadai kuandikia vyama vya kisiasa na kupeana malalamishi hayo pamoja na mapendekezo yanayofaa ili hali sawia na hii isije ikawa wakati huu na hata siku za baadaye.
So we are using that report. We have made a number of recommendations in that report. What the journalists feared would happen during the elections, like harassment and so on. We have also made recommendations to political parties in terms of working together with the media to facilitate journalists' work and ensure that they do not allow their supporters or themselves to attack journalists in the course of duty. Because journalism is protected under Article 34 of the Constitution, and journalists should be allowed a good environment to work. We have also made recommendations, our observation to IBC, the Independent Electoral Commission, because there were instances when their their officials in the field were not able to give information to journalists. We want more collaboration with IBC to release information to journalists so that they are able to also inform Kenyans.
Wakati huo huo, muungano huo pia umeripoti malalamisho haya kwa idara ya polisi na kumtaka inspekta mkuu wa polisi kujitokeza na kujibu madai hayo ambayo yaliweza kuibuliwa dhidi ya maafisa wake wa polisi na pia hatua ambazo zimechukuliwa kwa wale waliotekeleza dhuluma hiyo.
So we are in touch with the police service in terms of making representations to the police on cases which we require them to take action in. We know that they have not taken action in all the cases, but we have occasions had a situation where the Inspector General replies to indicate to us what investigations are being done. What we are calling for is collaboration, cooperation with the government agencies, and that we are saying that all stakeholders in this country must work together to ensure that the media that is protected, the freedom of expression, the freedom of the press is guaranteed as provided for in the Constitution, so that then the journalists are able to work in an environment without fear, without intimidation, and are facilitated to ensure that they do the sacred duty of informing the public.
Swala lingine lililoibuka ni jinsi vyombo vya habari vitakabiliana na habari za kupotosha nchini, huku wanahabari wakitakiwa kuwa mstari wa mbele kupigana na jinamizi hili.
We know that we have come from the general election period. There have been a lot of issues driven by different interested groups on disinformation. Some of them were campaigning for individual politicians or parties. They amassed a lot of influencers, and this brought a bit of some confusion for the people. It brought a bit of division among the people. So our project, which is supported by Deutsche Welle Academy, which is a German organization, is capacity building rural correspondents or journalists across the country. And we are going to train about 70 of them, who then will be treated as multipliers for this on different platforms and through the legacy media to ensure that we mitigate the effect of disinformation, especially those that affected rural communities, because some of the rural communities had no capacity to determine what was genuine and what was not.
Ni swala ambalo huchochewa na watu wa nia mbaya wakipotosha wananchi kupitia mitandao ya kijamii ambayo hufikia kwa karibu na kwa haraka wa Kenya, na bila kuwa makini huchukuliwa kuwa hakika ya mambo kabla ya madhara yake kuonekana wazi.
We are working together with other media stakeholders, and the whole question about fake news, misinformation and disinformation is a big thing because of technology and social media.
I think as editors we need to be very careful with what we find on social media, and especially when our reporters on the ground do not have this kind of information. The creators of fake news have also realized that there are things that sell as news, and this is how they package. Because when you talk about disinformation, we have got different types. We have got fabrication of news, we have got impersonation, using brands. Like right now we have got graphics. We are not supposed to pick what we see on social media as the gospel truth and then imagine that whoever is in the field is doing nothing.
Yeah, so our intervention is based on the fact that KCA has a countrywide network of journalists then that can multiply the information or factual information that can go towards helping the communities to understand what is factual and what is not.
Dan Dunde, habari za Magharibi.